a hand? Perhaps. But who started this? Who followed who? Who was minding their own business? And again, of the two, who was the one that was armed? And who knew that they were armed? I hope you can see that from there. And I've got it right here too. It's a timeline, and it's going to kind of tell you a little bit about what happened there. It's a timeline showing the phone call, and you'll be able to take it back there. It's in evidence. But it's a timeline showing the phone call between Rachel Gentile and Trayvon Martin. There's two parts to it, and it's color-coded. Hopefully we've made it fancy so you all can decipher it. You know, I'm old, and I'm getting used to now the computer systems, but hopefully it makes sense. And what you also have is you also have George Zimmerman's call, so you have the exact time in terms of the length of the call. Then you also have it broke up originally with, as you recall, Ms. Gentile talked that she lost contact and then she got it back up. And then you have Ms. Lauer's call. And that's why I was able to tell you unequivocally as to when the gunshot occurred. Because we were able to time when Ms. Lauer made the call, and you hear the gunshot, unfortunately, in that call. And then you have other calls too, Ms. Serdica that you heard speak, and then you have when Officer Smith arrived at the retreated Twin Lakes, and you have Mr. Good's call. So I would submit to you that's relevant in terms of establishing the timeline as best we can as to what occurred. Now, are people off, you know, by a few minutes possibly, but the phone records don't lie. Because my recollection was that we spent, I think, half a day one day and possibly half a day the next day hearing from one witness. Her name was Rachel Gentile. Now, this young lady, I would submit to you, is not a very sophisticated person. She's not the most educated. But she's a human being, and she spoke as best she could. You know, she happens to be what? Haitian or of Haitian descent. And, you know, made a big deal about, oh, you can't read cursive. Yes, you can, unfortunately. She's what, 18, 19? But did what she tell you as best she could, and maybe her English wasn't the best, maybe her speech, her language was a little colorful. I think she referred to me as that bald-headed dude and referred to other phrases that describe other people. But did she speak the truth? Because when you think of it, she was the person that was speaking to the victim. And really, the conversation that she had with the victim, nobody would know whether she's telling the truth or not other than her. I mean, we have the phone records that established it, that there's no dispute that they were talking. But what I'm saying is, she didn't have to, she could have embellished, she could have lied about what the victim said, and when she referred to the guy that was following him, that creepy guy, when she said to him, he's probably a pervert or a sexual or something, why is this guy following you? And Trayvon Martin said he's what, a white ass whatever cracker or whatever. She didn't color it. Yeah, when she talked to the victim's mother, she didn't use that language, but she didn't come in here and lie to you about that. I mean, she could have, and nobody would have known the difference. It wasn't like her conversation was being recorded. But see, her use of colorful language doesn't mean that her testimony is less credible, just because she's not a highly educated individual. Again, we have records that establish that that conversation took place. So there's no dispute about that. And those records are up there. But let's talk about, she spent hours on that witness stand. Why? I guess attempt to discredit her in some way? You decide whether she was telling the truth. Do you disregard what she said because her family's from Haiti? Because she isn't sophisticated? And because she can't read cursive, unfortunately? I mean, is that what you should do? I don't think the instructions are going to tell you that, but you could decide. Well, she's not very educated. I don't think she's... And I'm not saying that you will. But I mean, why do we take so long in asking her questions? Because we're trying to get to the truth. both sides. But I think the other witnesses, I guess, were maybe more sophisticated. It didn't take 6 hours or whatever. Anyway, you decide. But did what she say comport or match up with the evidence that the other people were talking? I would submit it did. I mean, think back, and it happened a while ago, but think about what she said. What she said Trayvon Martin said, and isn't it consistent with the evidence? I mean, is there any dispute that this defendant profiled, it's my word, you can use whatever word you want to use, but isn't it true that this defendant assumed that Trayvon Martin was a criminal? I mean, he even tells the police that.